side. My name is Jörg Dirks. I'm happy today provide you with some insights about reinsurance on the chain together with my colleague Nicky Opitz.
Hi.
Hope you can also see our screen, which we have shared now. Hope that works, as we are unfortunately not able to meet you or join your conference in person. We are happy to provide you with some insights on a virtual screen here. Just on my side, I'm Jörg Dirks, working for Hannover Re since almost 10 years now. Started as an underwriter and now working since 3 years in the Retrocession department. What that is, we will describe later on. I'm just happy to hand over to my colleague Nicky, who will also provide you with some slight insight of his person, and then we can start what we have done so far.
Yeah, thank you, Jörg, and good afternoon. I think it is in Bangkok. Thank you for staying up late for hearing our talk. I'm Nicky. I'm have been working for Hannover Re since 8 years. I'm within the IT department, and generally speaking, my job is to do some technology consulting for our market department, so like Jörg's department, and together we set up our first reinsurance solution on a distributed ledger. I think that's it.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So just a short setup here for you. What we would like to share with you, our general setup. What Nicky mentioned. What have we done so far? Who we are. For some of you who are not so familiar with Hannover Re, let's say. And then last but not least, very short, our lessons learned as a reinsurance company. So as you know, we are also working in the finance industry, but reinsurance is sometimes a little bit later than the banking side or finance industry. So therefore, happy to provide you with our lessons learned. Just a short summary here on that slide, who we are. We are Hannover Re. Hannover Re is one of the largest leading reinsurance companies in the world. Probably you might know on the stock exchange market, Munich Re. Munich Re in the southern part of Germany, in Munich. They are our competitor or our peer, let's say. And we are also a stock exchange market in the German DAX. So Hannover Re, founded in 1966. We have about 2,500 people employing or working for us. We are worldwide contributed, so we have a worldwide presence together with our subsidiaries and branches as a worldwide reinsurer, and we are transacting in all lines. So that means in property casualty lines as well as on the life and health reinsurance side, and providing our primary insurances with good solutions and with capacity. Just a short summary for this conference. Probably you're not so familiar, or who is not so familiar with reinsurance. That's no shame here. Happy to provide you with a short update what we are doing and why we have done this deal and where it's in place, let's say. So when we are considering a reinsurance, what is a reinsurance company? And a reinsurance company is an insurance of the insurance. That's a short phrase in the nutshell. And retrocession, that's the latest part, is the reinsurance of a reinsurance. So when talking about insured risks like motor, home insurance, life and health, business and catastrophe risks, like a hurricane, for example, all these risks are mostly insured by primary insurance companies, as you can also see on the left-hand side. So primary insurance companies are insuring the insured risk of private customers or also commercial customers. And they are then also further developing their risks to reinsurance companies. So reinsurance companies are then coming into place to diversify also the book of a primary insurance company or the portfolio. And the balance or the advantage of reinsurance is just for a primary insurance company to also reduce their claims volatility for extreme events, let's say, or also to reduce their severity of claims in particular. It's the same stuff for reinsurance in the middle part here of the slide. So reinsurance companies diversify their portfolio of risks on a worldwide perspective. They are insuring primary insurance companies on a worldwide level and then also diversifying their risks furthermore. And then the latest part is retrocession and capital markets, and that department where I'm working. And Hannover Re is one of the largest retrocession buyer in the world. So we are also protecting ourselves against major losses to protect our equity and also our balance sheet. This is also coming to our reason that we are a stock exchange market and owned by the Talanx Group, and Talanx Group is owning 50.2% of our shares. So therefore, we are not so able as the competitors like Munich Re or Swiss Re to go to the stock market and selling our shares and earning some capacity for larger risks. So therefore, we have to buy retrocession, and retrocession and capital markets are then providing us with capacity that we are then able to also go into larger risk and to support our clients with a good solution in the future as well. It's a very stable solution. And what we have done on our blockchain idea or decentralized finance part is that we have came up together with a partner who is called Schroders. So Schroders Capital Management, they are hosted in Zurich in Switzerland as well as in UK, and they came up with a pilot project idea to us if it would be able to provide them with a retrocession product, so-called IW. What an IW is, I will explain later on. And this kind of product should be based on a cryptocurrency and a blockchain technology. Why is it a good fit for us? For us, it was a good fit, as I mentioned before. So Hannover Re is a reinsurance company, and probably you might know primary insurance companies and reinsurance companies. I would not say that they are boring. We are quite interesting, as well as that we are providing our clients and customers with support and going into loss positions, which are quite interesting. And the whole market is very interesting, fluctuating, some news and so on. But nevertheless, comparing that to the finance industry, to banks, for example, I would say that primary insurance companies as well as reinsurance companies are not so innovative when it comes to new technologies. Nevertheless, AI and also blockchain is a huge topic for us. And the blockchain idea was just that we are learning more about digital currencies, positioning us as Hannover Re as an innovative partner, and also open up our scale for further avenues when it comes to retrocession, which are backed up by cryptocurrencies. Because as far as now, we still have to say, no, we cannot do that because we are not trusting in cryptocurrencies. It was just a negative aspect when it comes to Bitcoins or other cryptocurrencies, which probably have not the best reputation in the market. And therefore, we came up on our technology here to bring the USDC coin into place. And we also thought, okay, where can this kind of transaction help us being more comfortable with cryptocurrencies, scale up our potential retrocessions in respect of further capacity when it comes to crypto investors, as well as also explore more about the assets of tokenization to get more familiar with decentralized finance in that matter. Especially the point where we would like to phrase the scale up potential retros, so retrocession, by seeking more capacity from our retrocession partners. When it comes to partners who said, okay, they would like to provide us with capacity, which is backed up by cryptocurrencies. At that stage, we were not able to say that we can take up this kind of cryptocurrencies, as I mentioned before. And with this kind of project here, we were able now to learn more about cryptocurrencies and also hopefully now able in the future to work with this kind of fancy stuff. The next steps I will explain later on. And just to provide you with some short information, what is retrocession again and what's insurance-linked securities, so-called IWs or ILS, in a special kind of reinsurance. When you consider an insurance company on the blue box here, the protection buyer, that are we as a reinsurance company, let's say. Then in the middle part, you see the red box or the lighter red box here, the reinsurance SPV. What is an SPV? An SPV is a special purpose vehicle, which is just set up for the insurance-linked securities. As you probably remember from the beginning, the capital markets is also including ILS, so the insurance-linked securities. And with these kind of vehicles, we are able to getting of more capacity from our investors. We are calling them also retrocessionaires, but in this case, investors would also meaning institutional investors like huge hedge funds, pension funds, and so on. And in this case of our pilot project here, to get more of cryptocurrency investors in particular. Nevertheless, their investment needs also be collateralized in this case, so that we can be trustful that their money, which they are providing us, is also collateralized in that part. And that's just the short setup here, How we have then done it on our MVP here is that we, as a protection buyer, as Hannover Re, have provided our ideas to Schroders and to their backup service provider, IMLab. IMLab is also a Swiss company who are very active on the blockchain side, decentralized finance, when it comes also to Web3, for example. And our idea was to provide or to get a retrocession product which is totally automatic in the tokenization hub. And the tokenization hub is, in the comparison, the structure set up what I've shown you before. So the whole structure set up here on the red side and light gray part here is then the tokenization hub when it comes to our automatic approach of the ILS contract here. It's probably a little bit too complicated to explain here in this case. Nevertheless, the whole idea was to get a product or capacity which is totally automatic, where we have not to do some further instructions. Nevertheless, when you are comparing reinsurance and your own primary insurance policy, for example, for your car insurance, you still have a physical paper in your hand. It might be a PDF file, but nevertheless, it's still physical paper. And that's the same for us on the reinsurance side. So when we are going into contact and getting capacity from our investors, our retrocessionaires, they are still, by the end of the day, there is a physical contract in place, which we have to sign. Nowadays, we are more fancy. We are signing that digital, but nevertheless, it's still a physical contract. And that was the main exercise here in this kind of project. How can we deal up to get more familiar with automatic approaches, also when it comes to signing process and getting the money? That's just the overview in a nutshell. It's so-called a ILW contract. What is an ILW? Please do not be confused with ILS and ILW. ILS is just what I mentioned before, the structure, the industry insurance-linked securities. And the IW is just the contract of a retrocession. It's so-called the industry loss warranty, and it's a parametric-driven contract here. So parametric means that we are concentrating on natural catastrophes, and once a natural catastrophe is hit by a contract, then we get the money from the investors. That's just from my side on the technical side. I'm happy to hand over to Nicky on our lessons learned, who is happy to provide you with some further insights. What have we learned so far on the IT side and how we came up later on. Nicky.
Yeah, Jörg, thank you very much. So we thought a little bit, so our contract is in place. So in general, we can say it worked out. So good. However, during the process of setting this up and getting this up and running, there were some challenges, and we more or less overcame this challenges for our MVP project. But there are still some issues for, let's say, scaling this towards something bigger. And today I brought like 3 examples where we see some challenges, and it's our lessons learned, and it's also a plea to you, the decentralized finance community, to come up with better solutions or to help companies like us out in doing business with cryptocurrencies. The first observation we had is that our lawyers do not speak code. So usually when we're doing reinsurance, right? So there's a contract, a paper contract with some clauses and there's the premium and the insured risk and all this stuff. And usually Jörg reads it, and in 90% of the time he understands it, I would guess, maybe 99%, I'm not sure. And then there are some cases where there might be some clause that he didn't really understand. Then he asks our legal department, and then they read it and they say, okay, that's fine, or that's not fine. We have to renegotiate that. That's the way we set up reinsurance contracts. For this case, we had to sign a smart contract because it's a smart contract. But Jörg doesn't know how to read a smart contract because he's not a software engineer, he's not a programmer, and neither are our lawyers. So that's a problem. So for our case, we had to come up with let's say a paper-based backup solution. So we took the smart contract and tried to translate it into something in plain English. And that's all fair and square, but there might be there's at least theoretical risks that the smart contract and our paper-based backup contract are different, right? So software is what's the English word? Unambiguous. So it's the way it is. While paper-based contracts, they are written in natural language. There might be some nuance to it, some room for interpretation. So there might be a scenario where the interpretation of the paper-based contract is different from the interpretation of the smart contract. And then the question is, which one of those is the legally binding one, right? So if let's say the scenario happens that the smart contract says that the catastrophe did not happen and the investors get their money back. But our interpretation of the paper-based contract is that actually the scenario happened and we want to have the collateral. Then the question is, so which side is right? And as for the first thing I wrote down, as our lawyers cannot speak code, the only legally binding thing we would accept is the paper-based contract. But if the paper-based contract is the legally binding document, why should you have a smart contract in the first place? I mean, Jörg and me, we get to the board and we go to there and we always say, yeah, it's blockchain and it's so efficient and it's automated and it's so great. But in the end, if you rely on a paper-based contract, then you lose all that efficiency gains. So our first plea to the community is come up with a solution for that. I don't know what the solution is. I don't see any major law schools making their lawyers to also training them in software engineering. I don't know about that, but this just some food for thought. Then one slide further, please, Jörg. The second thing is that we realized, so for our MVP example, it's actually a very small contract. So what we had to do is, so the premium we paid is, I think it was $1,000 converted to USDC, and the insurance limit was, I think, $30,000 or something like that. So I don't know the exact numbers, but that's kind of, so it's a small toy contract. Still, it took us maybe 6 months to convert $1,000 to 1,000 USDC. Because as we found out, this is very hard to do for an enterprise when you do it for the first time. So for me as a private person, it's very easy. So if a friend approaches me and asks me, "Hey Nicky, how can I want to buy some Ethereum or some Bitcoin? What should I do?" We just sit together and he say, "Okay, take out your phone, go to the App Store, download, I don't know, Coinbase, download Binance, whatever, sign up for an account. Then maybe at least in the European Union, you have to maybe take a photo of your passport and upload it. And then something happens, and you upload your credit card details. 5 minutes later, you own your first Bitcoin. It's very easy, right? Because you're in total control of the process. As it turns out, at a major reinsurer, there are many people involved in doing financial transactions. So we had to get some feedback from our legal department if we actually are allowed to have USDC. We have to ask our collateral department, our financial accounting, that they have our banking accounts. We have to get an opinion by our risk management department. So all the stuff, as a private person, I do that on my own. But here at Hannover Re, and I'm sure in many other bigger enterprises, this is done by a lot of departments. And none of them has any understanding of what this is, and they don't have any trust. So it was a lot of work for us to convince them to go on, to join on this route and to get that money transaction happening. So second appeal to the community, I don't know, offer trainings to accountants. Tell people how this works. Build trust. This is very important. Otherwise, enterprises will not enter this market. And then last slide from my side. As Jörg told before, for this kind of reinsurance product that is on the capital market, we need to have some form of collateral. So when we do classic retrocession, so if we cede some of our business to other reinsurers, these other reinsurers they are then heavily regulated by the same regulators as us. So we have a certain trust that when we buy protection from them, that in a loss scenario that they are able to pay. When we are dealing with private investors, we cannot have the trust, so we rely on them showing us some collateral. And in the old world, let's say, usually this collateral is either paid into some form of trust account, or what also happens is that the investors they have some letter of credit by their banks, for example, and they send it to us, and Jörg reads it and say, okay, that's fine, they have the money, and we can do business with them, right? And this system is good. It's not 100% safe though. So for example, I'm pretty skilled in Microsoft Word and Photoshop, so I can forge a letter of credit within, I don't know, 20 minutes. When I just Google a random bank and how their letter of credits look, and then I just forge it. And maybe Jörg believes me. As long as he doesn't forward the bank, nobody will see this. So the system isn't perfect, but it's established. And when we want to transfer that to some decentralized finance, blockchain, distributed ledger universe. When you want to establish something new, it has to be better than the old process, right? So we have an old process that is like 99% safe, but our collateral department expects the new way to be 100% safe, and this is really hard to achieve because the whole thing is still for us very new, right? And the reputation of Bitcoin, blockchain, distributed ledger, cryptocurrencies is not that great. So for us, in order for us to convince our collateral department to accept cryptocurrency as a form of collateral, this was also a hard discussion, and it was only 1,000 euro, 1,000 US dollars we paid. But our next step would be to scale that up. Maybe the next contract, the next protection we buy is like $100,000 or $1 million or whatever. And for that, we have to actually incorporate this into our collateral guidelines. And it's still, at least for the moment, our collateral department is not convinced that there's any safe way for this collateral to be handled. So the only thing that we would consider safe is if you give us the collateral and we store it here. But on the investor side, who is used to like just keep it on his own bank and accumulate interest and just send us a letter of credit, that would be a worse scenario. So why should he do it? So the third lesson is, your system has to be better than the old system, and you have to have a good narrative and a good storyline to back that up. And this is something very important for us in order to scale our endeavor into decentralized finance. Yeah, and I think that's from my side for today. So 3 challenges for you guys.
Thank you, Nicky. Yeah, and also just to provide you with some insights why we have done that process. As I mentioned before, it was more on learning digital currency operations, let's say, but nevertheless, our next step would also be to further implement this kind of technology in our organization. That's quite important for us, as Nicky mentioned it before, the lessons learned, and these kind of steps are quite important. We are a huge organization, and sometimes you have different opinions about decentralized finance, cryptocurrencies as well. So therefore, this kind of project here on that real deal was very useful for us. And we think we are now good prepared for the next step, still staying focused, as well as on cryptocurrencies and further on when it comes to digital currencies, probably the digital euro or digital US dollar or so on might bring further efforts to this kind of technology. And yeah, thank you for your attendance and your audience, let's say. And once you have some further feedback to us or also questions, please reach out to us. These are our contact details here. And you're also happy to contact Christoph to get into further feedback to us and knowledge. Thank you very much for your time and have a good evening.
Also, thank you very much. We are open to questions, but if you want to go to dinner or join the bar, we were also fine with that.